Good morning, dear students of class 12. Welcome to this online English learning class. Today, we are going to continue further with the lesson Rat Trap by Selma Lagerlöf. As discussed earlier, this story is based on the theme that there is essential goodness in every human being. And this goodness is awakened through understanding and love. Now, in part 1, we discussed that there was a rat trap peddler. He used to go from streets to streets selling small rat traps of wire, which he got by either begging from stores or by stealing at the big farms. His business was not profitable, and so sometimes he had to also compromise with the principles and resort to begging or petty thievery. His condition was very pitiable, clothes in rags, cheeks sunken, and always hunger gleamed in his eyes. He was leading a very sad, monotonous life, and he was like a vagabond, an aimless wanderer who moves around road to road in his own meditations. Life was a big struggle for him. Making his both ends meet was a real struggle for him. One day he fell upon a very philosophical line of thought which seemed to be very entertaining to him. He compared the whole world to a big rat trap. Like he was a rat trap seller. In the rat trap, a bait is offered to lure the rats in the form of cheese or pork. And once the rat is lured, the rat gets trapped, and that is its end. Similarly, the whole world is offering many worldly possessions to trap people. And once a person gets trapped in these worldly possessions, he is attracted to it, get lured to it, tempted by it, and that is the end of that person. Now, he seemed to derive some sadistic pleasure out of this line of thought. And one day, in his many dreary ploddings, he came across, it was night, and he decided to take shelter, and he took a shelter in the house of a crofter, an old crofter. He never thought that he would be given such a welcome, but the old crofter had his own reasons. He was leading a very lonely life, and he was happy to receive a guest that day. And he made special efforts to make the guest comfortable. He behaved like a perfect host. Not only he shared his porridge, tobacco, cake, played a game of majolis with him, but also shared his deep secrets. And that was that he had saved 30 kronas, and he also showed him the place where he had saved it. The next morning, both woke up and they went their ways. Crofter for his work, and the rat trap peddler, he also took permission to leave. But then, while on his way, a thought came to him, and he returned back to the crofter's house. Though the door was locked, and he knew the place where the crofter had saved his earnings, the 30 kronas. He went up to the window, smashed a pane, and then took out from the pouch 30 kronas. And he took the money, thrust it into his own pockets, and he hung the leather pouch very carefully back in its place. We stopped here. We'll continue further. As he walked along with the money in his pocket, he felt quite pleased with his smartness. Initially, he was very happy because he had stolen the money. He realized, of course, that at first he dared not continue on the public way, but must turn off the road into the woods. During first hours, this scare caused him no difficulty. Later in the day, it became worse, for it was big and confusing forest which he had gotten into. He tried to be sure to walk in a definite direction, but the paths twisted back and forth so strangely. He walked and walked without coming to the end of the wood, and finally he realized he had only been walking around the same part of the forest. So it gave him momentary happiness that he had stolen the 30 kroners of the crofter very smartly, and he had betrayed the trust of the crofter. He derived pleasure, but then, out of fear, he decided not to take the main road, but he took the road of the forest. But then he kept on walking and walking, and the forest did not end. All at once he recalled his thoughts about the world and the rat trap. Now his own turn had come. This realization that he had fallen into the rat trap. He had let himself be fooled by a bait that had been caught. So the bait was the 30 kroners that was offered by the crofter, and he had accepted the bait. He was lured by the bait, and now he will have to suffer. He had fallen into a trap. The whole forest with its trunks and branches, its thickets, fallen logs closed in upon him like an impenetrable prison from which he could never escape. Now he was not able to find the main road. He was lost in the forest. It was late in December. Darkness was already descending over the forest. This increased the danger and increased also his gloom and despair. He became more and more sad as there was darkness all over. Finally, he saw no way out, and he sank down on the ground, tired to death, thinking that his moment had come, his end has come. But just as he laid his head on the ground, he heard a sound, a hard, regular thumping. There was no doubt as to what that was. He raised himself. Those are the hammer strokes from an iron mill, he thought. There must be people nearby. He summoned all his strength. Summoned means he gathered all his strength, got up, and staggered in the direction of the sound. So he had heard the sound of beating of iron. So probably there was an iron mill. The hammer stroke sound gave him indication that nearby was an iron mill, and he must try to reach there because there would be people around. Probably he can take help. So he got up, called all his strength, summoned all his strength, gathered all his strength, and then he staggered in the direction of the sound. He followed the sound. He was not able to walk properly, and that is why the word staggered is used. He was too tired, exhausted. The Ramjo's iron works, which are now closed down, were not so long ago a large plant with smelter, rolling mill, and forge. So Ramjo's iron mills was probably nearby. In the summertime, long lines of heavily loaded barges and scows slid down the canal, which led to large inland lake, and in the winter time the roads near the mill were black from all the coal dust which sifted down from the big charcoal crates. So lot of work was going on, used to go on in the Ramjo's ironworks. During one of the long dark evenings just before Christmas, the master smith and his helper sat in the dark forge near the furnace, waiting for the pig iron which had been put in the fire to be ready to put on the anvil. Every now and then one of them got up to stir the glowing mass with a long iron bar, returning in a few moments, dripping with perspiration, with sweat, though, as was the custom, he wore nothing but a long shirt and a pair of wooden shoes. So here the work in the iron mill was going on, and there were long iron bars and uh, the people, laborers there, they were almost dripping with perspiration. All the time there were many sounds to be heard in the forge. The big bellows groaned and the burning coal cracked. The fire boy shoveled charcoal into the maw of the furnace with a great deal of clatter, a lot of sound. The fire boy, he was shoveling charcoal into the furnace. Outside roared the waterfall, and the sharp north wind whipped the rain against the brick tiled roof. It was probably on account of all this noise that the blacksmith did not notice that a man had opened the gate and entered the forge. Because work was going on and there was a lot of sound, and probably this was the reason blacksmith did not notice a man opening the gate and entering the forge until he stood close up the furnace. He came very near to the furnace. Surely it was nothing unusual for poor vagabonds without any better shelter for the night to be attracted to the forge by the glow of light which escaped through the sooty panes and to come in to warm themselves in front of the fire. So this was not unusual. Many poor vagabonds in order to take shelter for the night, they used to come to this place to be near the furnace and feel hot and comfortable. The blacksmith glanced only casually. Glanced means look. He gave a very casual look and was indifferent at the intruder. Intruder means stranger. Who is the stranger here? The stranger is the rat trap peddler. He looked the way people of his type usually did, with a long beard, dirty, ragged, and with a bunch of rat traps dangling on his chest. Dangling means they were just hanging on his chest. So he looked like any poor person, hardly noticeable, without any identification. So the blacksmith did not give him any attention. He asked permission to stay, and the master blacksmith nodded a hearty consent, means he agreed, without saying yes or no, without honoring him with a single word, because he did not deserve any kind of respect because of his condition. But he neither said yes nor said no. So the tramp did not say anything either. He had not come there to talk, but only to warm himself and sleep. So that was fine. He did not want any sort of welcome from the blacksmith. He just wanted to spend his night. He did, and some warmth. And he had not come here for any kind of conversation. In those days, the Ramjo's iron mill was owned by a very prominent ironmaster, whose greatest ambition was to ship out good iron to the market. So this was owned by an ironmaster, very well-known ironmaster, who did a lot of business. He watched both night and day to see that the work was done as well as possible. So he used to come on nightly inspections at night or in daytime. And at this very moment, he came into the forge on one of his nightly rounds of inspection. So the ironmaster had come for his daily night round of inspection. At this time, naturally, the first thing he saw, the tall ragamuffin who had eased his way so close to the furnace that steam rose from his wet rags. So he noticed this tall ragamuffin vagabond who was very close to the furnace, and so close that steam was coming out from his wet rags. The ironmaster did not follow the example of the blacksmiths, who had hardly deigned to look at the stranger. He walked close up to him, looked him over very carefully, then tore off his slouch hat to get a better view of his face. He did not behave like the blacksmith by giving him no notice. Rather, he came very close to him and had a better view of him. But of course, it's you, Niels Olof, he said. How you do look. So he referred to the rat trap peddler by a name, Niels Olof. And he also said, how are you looking? We'll stop here and we'll continue further in tomorrow's class. Thank you.